Luther King Jr., his legacy, the civil rights movement, and hopefully the creation of more peace on earth. A lot of the songs of the civil rights, as you know, used old gospel tunes. A lot of the gospel songs themselves were used. And as you probably all know, the power of music in uniting people. So as we're doing our program today, if there's anything you know, please sing along. You're welcome to sing out, harmonize, whatever the Spirit moves you to do. Also, a lot of the civil rights songs, there's a lot of repetition, so even if you don't know it, you can pick it up quickly. And please sing along.
We want to hear you. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, come to the window. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, look at what I see. Well, he's riding into town on a swayback mule. He's got a tall black hat on and he looks like a fool. But he sure is a-talking like it's been to school. And it's 1853. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, listen to what he's saying. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, he says it's getting late. He says all those black folks should all be free to walk around the streets just like you and me. He's talking about a thing he calls democracy. In 1858, hey, Nellie, Nellie, hear the banjos ringing. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, hand me down my gun. 'Cause the men are a-shouting and the boys are too. They're all putting on their coats of blue. And I can't stand around here and talk to you. In 1861, hey, Nellie, Nellie, come to the window. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, I've come home alive. But my uniform of blue is all stained with red. The man in the tall black hat, he's dead. But we sure should remember all the things that he said. In 1865. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, come to the window. Hey, Nellie, Nellie, look at what I see. Well, there's white folks and black folks marching side by side. They're marching in a column that's a century wide. It's been a long and a hard and a bloody ride to 1963. For me, the year was 1952. That's when I first got involved in the civil rights movement. I was 10 years old and my brother Ed was getting married to a young lady he met, and she was from Glasgow, Kentucky. And my dad couldn't make it to the wedding, so my mom and I flew to Louisville, Kentucky to be met by my brother to be taken to Glasgow. And as we walked into the airport, I lived in Tucson. I was born and spent my childhood in Tucson, and that was a very different place than Glasgow, Kentucky was, especially Louisville. We got off the airplane and there was big signs on the walls that said, colored restroom, white restroom. Colored drinking fountain, white drinking fountain. I'd never seen signs like that in Tucson. I had no idea what was going on because my mother had always raised me that everybody's equal. And so she had to kind of pull me aside and give me a quick synopsis of the history of the South and some of the history of the United States that I was not aware of at that time. And I just didn't understand. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt's land,
let my people go.
Oppressed so hard they could not stand.
Let my people go.
I said to go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, old Moses said,
Let my people go.
if not, I'll smite your firstborn dead.
Let my people go.
I said to go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let
My people go.
Let me hear you now.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh
To let my people go. Well, we went on to Glasgow, Kentucky, and it was so different. One of the things I remember about the place we stayed, it was a two-story. We hardly had any two-story homes in Tucson, and they actually let me slide down the banister. I'd never done that as a kid before, so I got to do that. And then the wedding was over, and my brother and his wife were on their way to their honeymoon. So they drove my mom and I to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we boarded a Greyhound bus to ride back to Louisville to go back to Tucson. So we got on the bus, and I headed straight for the back of the bus because that's what we did in Tucson. The driver always said, "Move to the rear of the bus, please." And my mom had to stop me again and explain to me real quickly again one of the situations that took part in that region, and that was that the black people sat in the back of the bus and the white people sat in the front of the bus. And I looked at her and I thought for a minute, and I went back to the back of the bus and I sat down because that just seemed the right thing to do. And so all the way to Louisville, we had all kinds of eyes staring at us with fright and fear and just, it was bad energy. And I just did not understand what was going on. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Let me hear you now. Swing low, sweet chariot, sea, coming for to carry me home.
It was a band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home.
Sing it now. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Well, if you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming there too, coming for to carry me home. Every doctor now swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Coming for to carry me home. It was coming for to carry me home. Well, pretty soon it was 1962, and moving into the real beginning and movement of the civil rights movement. And being a topical folk singer at the time, many of the songs that I did were songs from the civil rights movement. And I'll never forget, I was working as a single act, playing in Amarillo, Texas. And I sang the songs that you're about to hear in a medley. And it was a club I was working in. And after everything was over, my show was over and everything, there was a table full of cowboys that called me over, got their big hats on, big boots on. Let's buy you a beer, son. So I sat down with them and they looked at me and I said, if you come back to this town, boy, don't ever sing those songs again. So I just sang them louder wherever. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom for my soul, for my soul. And before I'll be a slave, well, I'll be buried in my grave. I'm going home to my Lord and be free. No more slavery. Help us out now. No more slavery. No more slavery over me, over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. I'm going home to my Lord and be free. No more segregation. No more segregation. No more segregation over me, over me. And before I'll be a slave, well, I'll be buried in my grave. I'm going home to my Lord and be free. Oh, oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom for my soul, for my soul. And before morning with my mind. Stayed on freedom. You know, I woke up this morning with my mind. Stayed on freedom. You know, I woke up this morning with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Well, I'm a walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Well, I'm a walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Well, I'm a walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 You know, I'm walking and talking and singing and praying with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Well, I'm singing and praying with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Well, I'm singing and praying with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Oh, if you miss me in the back of the bus, you can't find me nowhere. Oh, come on over to the front of the bus. I'll be riding right there. Everybody now, I'll be riding right there. I'll be riding right there. Oh, come on over to the front of the bus. I'll be riding right there. If you miss me in the cotton fields, you can't find me nowhere. Oh, come on over to the courthouse. I'll be voting right there. I'll be voting right there. I'll be voting right there. Oh, come on over to the courthouse. I'll be voting right there. If you miss me in the Mississippi River, you can't find me nowhere. Oh, come on over to the swimming pool. I'll be swimming right there. I'll be swimming right there. I'll be swimming right there. Oh, come on over to the swimming pool. I'll be swimming right there. I ain't scared of your jail, 'cause I want my freedom. I want my freedom. I want my freedom. Ain't scared of your jail, 'cause I want my freedom. I want my freedom now. Right now.
I'd like to read a few passages from the I Have a Dream speech given by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. on August 28, 1963. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny, and they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream, that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and hamlet, from every state and city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Catholics and Protestants, will be able to join hands and to sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
You can use your fire hose, we shall not be moved. You can use your fire hose, we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. You can use police dog, we shall not be moved. You can use police dog, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Jesus is my captain, we shall not be moved. Jesus is my captain, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Spoken in Ebenezer Baptist Church in 1967. For those of you who don't know, Ebenezer Baptist Church is in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the church where Dr. King was baptized. It's the church where he was ordained to be a minister at age of 19. And it was the church where he was co-minister with his father, Martin Luther King Sr. And it is the church where he was co-minister until he passed away in 1968. This is from a Christmas sermon on peace in 1967. In 1963, on a sweltering August afternoon, we stood in Washington, D.C., and talked to the nation about many things. Towards the end of that afternoon, I tried to talk to the nation about a dream that I had had. And I must confess to you today that not longer after talking about that dream, I started seeing it turn into a nightmare. Yes, I am personally the victim of deferred dreams, of blasted hopes. But in spite of that, I close today by saying, I still have a dream, because you know you can't give up in life. If you lose hope, somehow you lose that vitality that keeps life moving. You lose that courage to be, that quality that helps you go on in spite of all. And so today, I still have a dream. I have a dream that one day men will rise up and come to see that they are made to live together as brothers. I still have a dream today that one day war will come to an end, that men will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, that nations will no longer rise up against nations, neither will they study war anymore. I still have a dream today that one day the lamb and the lion will lie down together, and every man will sit under his own vine and fig tree, and none shall be afraid. I still have a dream today that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill will be made low. The rough places will be made smooth, and the crooked places straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. I still have a dream that with this faith, we will be able to adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism. With this faith, we will be able to speed up the day when there will be peace on earth and goodwill toward men. It will be a glorious day. The morning stars will sing together, and the sons of God will shout for joy.
Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. No Orville Faubus in that land, no George Wallace in that land. Ain't no bigots in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound. No Jim Crow in that land. There ain't no Jim Crow in that land. Ain't no Jim Crow in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Ain't no Jim Crow in that land. Ain't no Jim Crow in that land. Ain't no Jim Crow in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Ain't no slavery in that land. Ain't no slavery in that land. Ain't no slavery in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Ain't no slavery in that land. Ain't no slavery in that land. Ain't no slavery in that land. singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. So come with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound.
And from Martin Luther King's final speech, I See the Promised Land, April 3rd, 1968, Mason Temple in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountaintop, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
One man's hand can't tear a prison down. Two men's hands can't tear a prison down. But if 2 and 2 and 50 make a million, we'll see that day come around. We'll see that day come round. One man's voice can't shout to make them hear. 2 men's voices can't shout to make them hear. But if 2 and 2 and 50 make a million, we'll see the day come around. We'll see that day come around. One man's strength can't break the color bar. 2 men's strength can't break the color bar. Everybody. But if 2 and 2 and 50 make a million, we'll see that day come around. We'll see that day come round. One man's eyes can't see the way ahead. 2 men's eyes can't see the way ahead. But if 2 and 2 and 50 make a million, we'll see that day come around. We'll see that day come round.
Now we'd like to have just 2 or 3 minutes of silence to reflect, to say your own private prayers, to include the people in the prayer list in your heart. Any other concerns you have? Any Thanksgivings? We'll just have this time of quiet. I'd like to have everyone stand as we conclude our service with We Shall Overcome. I conclude this part of our service before we have our communion and offertory. Now. We shall overcome. We shall
Oh,